flower bits, so I do have to kind of, as part of the maintenance, is I need to come through and kind of pick those up. They mostly fall on the leaves and then they fall down onto either the bounty or the floor. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Hello, howdy, and welcome to the plant update. I'm Catherine and I'm the Aerogarden homesteader. I am currently looking at the pepper plants, and this is the one with the little cherry tomato in there. This one in the back is doing great. I need to look up which one it is again, I don't remember. This one is doing great as well. I did plant some more lettuce seeds. These are the ones that I started on the paper towel a couple days back, so these are literally 1 week old. They were put into, that was a sprout, this is a bounty, so they were put in here, 3 days after they sprouted, and they're doing pretty good. Some of these I'm almost ready to take off the little humidity domes, but I thought I'd give them just a little bit longer. Down here, I have the bunching onions. I did end up moving the ones that were with the cumin into here. I think they're big enough, I hope they're big enough that they can get enough light, but I guess we'll see. And then the one in the back here that I trimmed, I don't know if I can get you a better view, but it is doing pretty good. It's growing back, so we'll just be able to harvest that again at some point. And those ones in the back are looking, that one's huge. And then the cabbage, so this is doing awesome. It is completely taking over some of the plants beside it, but not much I can do about it. It is really curling around. I hope you can see this, but it's really curling around and creating a head. The one in the back is a little bit smaller, but it's also doing its job. You do have some of the leaves here are kind of interfering with each other. So it might be a 1 cabbage per bounty, but I guess we'll see. They seem to be doing okay. So it is a little difficult to get access to the water port though, so that's just something to keep into account. Then the beans. Beans are doing great. I am actually starting to find beans here and there. So there's one here. There's actually a little one just behind it. There's the one I showed you last week is doing awesome. I mean, this is almost ready to pick. The plant itself is doing fine. It does like to drop a lot of its little flower bits, so I do have to kind of, as part of the maintenance, is I need to come through and kind of pick those up. They mostly fall on the leaves and then they fall down onto either the bounty or the floor. So just something to kind of keep in mind. So I just want to say that in growing all these, I'm not looking to grow a massive crop like I would with an outdoor garden. This is not going to get me canning. This is going to get me the occasional fresh green salad, or if I'm lucky I might make a little bit of salsa, but by no means am I going to be able to can anything. If I really wanted to try to can something up, I would probably take 5 or 6 Aerogardens, a bunch of bounties pretty much, and just fill them up with all the same thing. You know, having 4 green bean plants, you know, I'm going to get a green bean here, a green bean there. I might get 3 or 4 at the same time, but I'm not going to get enough to fill 4 pint jars, which is the minimum load. That's not what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to show that, you know, if you want a little bit of fresh greens over the winter, this is a great way to do it. If you want to can things over the winter, this is probably not the best way to do it unless you're going to commit to having 5 or 6 Aerogardens, you know, bounties or whatever, you know, filled with all the same thing, just so you have enough to produce enough of one crop. Here is the cumin. I do wonder if it is starting to hit the end of its grow cycle. So a lot of the, I don't know if you can see, a lot of the base of the flowers have they've swollen up. There's a few further up here which look like they're starting to dry out. Let me see if I can find some that really look dry. Here, these ones look a lot drier. So see that? They're really starting to dry out. I do believe we are coming to the end of the grow cycle on this one. So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to harvest the cumin. But yeah, it's still kind of just overflowing all over the place, but I do notice that some of them are starting to kind of wilt back. I guess we'll see. the peas, they keep growing up and then kind of flopping over, and then they just start growing up again. I don't know if you can see, they're up against the wall there, and they just keep growing and growing, up, up, up. But I do have some, let's see if I can zoom in. Right here, I got a lot more peas coming along. So this is the one from last time. I still haven't picked it. I probably should and just eat it. Although, I don't know if at this point it's just starting to turn into seeds. I still have quite a few flowers in there, but I do wonder if it's starting to die back a little as well. So maybe it has also put out its max growth and it's just pushing out as many flowers and seeds as possible. So I guess we'll see how that goes as well. And in case you're following along with the strawberries, I moved 2 of them to a different Aerogarden. These 3 will also be going out to a different Aerogarden. I have one of the older Bounty models, so I'm going to put these 3 in it. The one in the lower left corner, I don't think it's going to survive. I put that one in the wrong way, and I don't think it liked it, so I think it's going to die back. But I do have a few more runners, a few more on the runner that I can do, so I'm going to probably do that, just to get a few more. And then this one random one on the lower right is just it's a lettuce seed that grew on the paper towel, is what sprouted, and I just chucked it in here just to have it somewhere. So we'll see if I can find some space for that somewhere else. And in case you're wondering about the cilantro seeds that I showed you last week, this is them. I believe I've just got the one that's sprouting, and I do think that whatever lettuce seeds are left here, I don't think they're going to sprout. So I think at this point I'm just waiting for cilantro to grow big enough to put in an Aerogarden. So we'll see. I feel like my last batch didn't do well, so I am hoping that these ones do better. Oh, there might be another one there sprouting. I don't know if you can see that tiny little tail right there. Okay, that's that. Now this is the lettuce from, this is the second batch of lettuce I did. That first batch didn't end up turning out, but this is sort of the second batch. Since I have started feeding it, and I put in a spinach, they seem like they're doing awesome. So there's this one here. This one's doing awesome as well. I don't feel like I've gotten any more of the brown spots spreading around, so all these new leaves, they're looking great. So, then this is the kale. The kale and the other lettuce, I ended up moving them over here so that I could make room for the new batch of lettuce. But this is doing well, so that's good. Then moving down to these, we're just going to start calling these the sad tomatoes. They're still looking a little sad, but I do think that I've got, boy, I have so many roots I can't even pull this out to show you anymore, so that's probably a good thing. But we'll see how they go. These are the mini jalapeno. They are doing awesome. So I do feel like these two are starting to, I feel like they're matched with each other now. This one was slightly more ahead of this one. This is the one with the wonky leaves. Still a little on the wonky side, but I feel like it's starting to flesh out and grow properly. And then the one in the back is doing really well as well. The tomatoes. So I believe this one, this is the second batch I did. I believe it's a Roma and a Amish paste. So I don't know if you can see, but I have some open flowers. So I just try to go through, knock those, try to pollinate them. I've gone through and, I don't know if I can really show this, but I've kind of pruned off some of the bottom leaves. This one will probably show it a little bit better. That's a leaf I cut off because I already had the sucker growing above it. So I don't think it's worth pruning off any of the suckers yet, so I've just been pruning off some of the larger lower leaves. This is the, oh my gosh, the pepper plant is just like completely taken over. I do try to remember to go through and, whew, look at all that pollen. I do try to go through and pollinate them. So, just a matter of, once you get some pollen on your finger, you can just kind of go through and tap them all. We are probably getting a bit of cross-contamination going on, or cross-pollination. Doesn't really matter to me. And then there are some peppers hiding in here, but let me see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see that. The little pepper there. There's one, boy, everything's green, it's hard to show, but there's one a little further back behind it. So there's like 3 of them right there. And then that double that double flower, I don't know if you can see that, it grew pepper. It's like it's a single stem and 2 peppers coming out of it. So that's pretty cool. This is the broccoli, or the asparagus. Still no flowers going on, but it's putting out lots of green growth. The celery, I have been pruning off some of the celery on the sides. As I've been needing celery, I just come down and I kind of just take off. So say I'll just take off like one of these larger outer stems. I should probably prune off some of these little tiny ones that are here, just kind of hanging out, because I don't know that I need them. I don't know that the plant really needs them either. I am still getting some browning on the leaves, so I don't know what's causing that. I don't know if it's not enough food or too much food. But you can see it's happening on the young plant, you know, the young leek growth. More lettuce. This spinach decided to bolt. So the room does get warm, so that might be why. And I can't tell if this lettuce is trying to bolt, this is the red romaine, or if this is just how it grows. So I've kind of just been keeping an eye on it. I did prune off a few little outer leaves, so I am starting to use it. The bok choy is doing great. I am trying to keep up with the growth on it, but it is kind of getting ahead of me. This other lettuce with the spinach also went to seed. I moved in one of the red romaines here so I could put a spinach in the other one. So now this one only has 2 spinach plants, which I believe, I don't think this one has bolted yet, but it looks like it's trying to. But this lettuce looks really good, so has a little bit of browning on the bottom from before I moved it, but all this new growth inside looks really good. So when I do the compilation video, I'll try to break down what I did and see if I can repeat that in this next batch. This is the mustard greens with the bonus bok choy. These are the mustard greens, and holy cow, I didn't think they would get this big. I probably need to be pruning these back and using them. Okay, this is the kale. This is the kale that is in the harvest, so it is doing really well. It's just going along, doing its thing. So, the cumin is doing quite well. I probably actually need to put that light up a little bit, but I just got the 3 in here, so we'll see what happens with that. And then behind it, I don't know if you can tell, something got a haircut. I ended up going through and pruning out all that parsley. So the basil is doing a little bit better, but it still looks like it's struggling and limping along. But we'll just see. Maybe some of that is a nutrient issue. I don't know if it's worth just taking out this parsley or not, but I'll leave it for now. The dill is doing great. I'm really at the point where I should be harvesting this dill, but I feel like I don't have a good use for it right now, so I've been waiting. But I should probably just harvest it and dry it and have it for another time. But the light's up as high as it will go. It is, I mean, it's sort of maxed out its growth, so, well, we'll just have to see. A lot of this is just a wait and see thing, so. Here are the leeks. It did end up, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, or if this happened between last time and this time, but that one had the weird growth, and so I ended up pulling off that weird section, and, well, I mean, we'll just see what happens with it. The other ones they're doing pretty good, but I feel like they're not quite as good as the one in the, you know, with the bunching onion, so we'll just see. This is the other thing of celery. It is not growing as tall as the, so the first one, it had the bigger plants in it. These ones had the smaller plants in it. You do have the smaller bunches, but I mean, they're getting there. So I haven't started pruning off of these ones yet, but they're looking pretty good. The cucumber plants are doing really well, and last week I was like doing the update going, gee, I wonder if any of these got pollinated. I'm pretty sure that this one got pollinated and this one got pollinated, but meanwhile here I am trying to find one, and there's this massive sucker hiding in the back here. Look at the size of this one. It just goes all the way down. It's like starts at the top trellis almost and goes almost to the bottom trellis. So, yes, a cucumber got pollinated. I know it works. Now the one thing I did notice is I do think I have a little bit of powdery mildew going on. I think I dripped on the leaf when I was topping off the water. So I'm going to, even though this leaf looks good, I'm going to prune it out because it's got this powdery mildew. I just don't want to, I'm assuming it's powdery mildew. I just don't want to pass it on to any of the other leaves. So I will just end up having to deal with that. But I'm going through, I've been pollinating them, so it does work. It's just a matter of how much work do you want to do to get a cucumber. I do want to try the parthenocarpic ones just to see how they are. And I don't know if it's easier or not. So we'll see. Well, this is the plant update. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please like and share so other people can also find this video. And I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.